America, Africa, New Zealand, Australia, among other continents for work purposes. Banking Frontiers, a leading banking magazine, awarded him the Best CEO for 2 consecutive years. He was instrumental in achieving excellent financial results during his regime. He is the director of National Federation of State Cooperative Banks. He is a recipient of first state-level Best Manager Award, and he's received it through the hands of Honorable Mr. Sharad Pawar, bestowed by the Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank Association in the year 2000. Recently, the bank badged with the National Award for Prudential Norms for Income Recognition and Asset Classification. Other than work, his areas of special interest are as under. His areas of interest include reading, writing, and imparting training. He's authored 4 novels in Marathi literature and 1 poetry book. He's a recipient of many literary awards. He's scripted 2 Marathi films and, of course, 4 music albums. So, very versatile chief guest for the day. May we have Dr. Silvaya to felicitate our chief guest for the day. So may we have you on the dais to speak a few words?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Principal Dr. Silvaya sir, Director Education, and my teacher, Dr. Shivare sir, Dr. Zuleka, and dignitaries of the dais, and my dear young friends. I am very delighted to see this atmosphere. I am delighted to come to this location. I understand that this college is 184 years old, way back established in 1832, isn't it? And you have such a privileged building, heritage property, and you have such wonderful location. Chowpatty and Arabian Sea just front of you. You are the luckiest person now. The faculties are also luckiest to have this college, this location. My dear friends, such a wonderful environment, such wonderful atmosphere, and you are conducting International Business Conference. This will definitely facilitate you to understand. Today's theme is on demonetization. Before I touch upon this issue, I would like to speak few words about Dr. Shivare sir. He has already told, he has in fact disclosed that I am his student way back in 1985 when I was studying in Kolhapur at Cyber Shaw Institute. He motivated me. He told me that you have talent, you have to work hard, and definitely I am sure that you will be first in order of merit in this Shiva University. I started working hard because exams were closer. Friends, a week later, I came across with my competitor in the same class. And he disclosed me that Dr. Shivare sir had come to him and he was motivating him and he was telling him that you have all instinct, you will come in order of merit, you work hard. So then I realized that he is such a motivator, he is influencing 4-5 students and telling everybody that you have all talent, you must work hard. See the healthy spirit and competition which he created amongst his students, and I was the luckiest person to stand in order of merit. Another small incident, when he was principal of Hinduja College, for a cultural program, Dr. Juleka madam has already introduced me in a different fashion. Dr. Shivari sir had invited me as a chief guest for one cultural event at Hinduja College. And the student introduced me as a managing director when I was deputy general manager at that time. So I told Dr. Shivari sir that, see, your student is wrongly informing the August gathering that I am a managing director. He was so cool. He said, I know you are deputy general manager, but you are going to be managing director of this institute. So that was the confidence of my teacher in the student. So I am happy that you have such faculties here, such teachers here. Thank you very much, sir, for the praise and motivation you gave me. And I initially thank the organizers, the Wilson College principal and coordinator Dr. Juleka for inviting me here. I have seen few things here. The Wilsonian long tradition, I came to know that the ex-Prime Minister Morarji Bhai was a student of this college, isn't it? So such great personalities from all walks of my life. From music, Pankaj Udhas, from the acting fraternity, Shubha Kote, from politics, Balasaheb Kher. So such wonderful Wilsonians I came across, and now you are here. Now let me touch upon some factors as regards to demonetization. In fact, there is a separate panel discussion, and moderator Honorable Shri Bhaskaran is right here. So I won't say much thing about demonetization because there is a separate panel discussion. But let me just touch upon. You all know from 8th of November this demonetization word is being repeated every now and then. But let us understand what is monetization. Let us see what is monetization. Monetization is the process of money serving effectively as a medium of exchange and store of value. Reserve Bank issues currency of various denominations, and that's the process of monetization. And that is for the cash transactions. You must be knowing way back in the ancient days we had a barter system. This was the exchange. Goods against goods. That was the barter system. Then in Raja Maharaja's days, they were lucky people to have gold coins as a medium of exchange. बहुत अच्छे दिन थे वहाँ पे. सुवर्ण मुद्रा exchange होती थी. So, see, what was the medium of exchange? Gold coin with their emblem embossed. So subsequently then notes came up, currency notes, and these currency notes are being used for cash transactions. And my dear friends, as a business management student, you are aware of GDP, and this currency to GDP ratio of India is as high as 12%. This is not there in any country. So we must understand what was the need of demonetization. It is, we are right now facing certain aftermath effects of demonetization. But what was the need of demonetization? So there were few aspects, very important aspects that also as a student, as a citizen of India, we must realize what was the need. As I told you, the currency to GDP ratio was as high as 12%. And secondly, the ratio of lower denomination notes to higher denomination notes was also as high as 86%. All are aware that 500 and 1000 rupee notes constituted 86% of the total currency. And only 14% currency was in the smaller denominations. So that disproportionate ratio of having high currency notes to the lower currency notes was also a need of time to be brought under the control. So we must realize what was wrong and what was needed. What made the Prime Minister to think in terms of demonetization. And then cash is as Dr. Shivari sir told you, we have 60% of population of rural economy. Still we have a rural population. 60% have livelihood on rural. We are here in the cosmos or metropolitan cities, but still 60% of India, of Indian population. And obviously in those unorganized, unbanked areas, cash is the only medium of exchange. And therefore there was a need, because cash, it has a store of value. And therefore, my dear friends, black money, because cash has a feature of anonymity in the transactions. You know, when there are two parties and they are exchanging cash, there is an anonymity of cash transactions. When there is a check transaction, obviously the party giving the check, the drawer, the payee, everybody is known and that is accounted for. If there is a ATM rupee card or any other credit debit card, parties are known. Whereas in cash transaction there is an anonymity, and therefore, my dear friends, there is a great amount of tax avoidance. When the transactions, cash transactions are held, there is great amount of tax avoidance. And you see now, in real estate what happens? In the real estate, when you want to buy a flat, your parents want to buy or invest in the realty sector, the builder will say that the payment will be accepted 70-30, 60-40. What is that 70-30, 60-40? 60% in check, 40% in cash. Or 70% in check, 30% in cash. That was literally that was the tradition in this country. That means 30 to 40% of the value amount was in cash. And that cash was obviously unaccounted. And that is what we call it as black money. And why to blame the builder or such type of people or business people? I will cite an example of my medical practitioner doctor with whom I deal for my own treatment. There is one cardiologist at Pedder Road, and I regularly pay a visit to him. He charges me 3,000 rupees per visit as his consultancy fee. That 3,000 rupees I have to pay in cash. Of course, his compounder gives me a receipt of that 3,000 rupees. But you know that 3,000 rupees receipt is, anybody can go in the stationery book and get a receipt book. Literally, it's a stationery type. There is no print of his clinic name, nothing else. Receipt with thanks from so and so. And then his compounder just puts his stamp. He signs, of course, he signs. It's a rubber stamp. That indicates that receipt book has no meaning. And that 3,000 is in cash. And when I see around, in 1 hour's time, there are 10 to 12 patients. Everybody is paying 3,000 rupees. So you can imagine the roaring practice of that doctor. Of course, highly intellectual, great person. I have got high regards for him. Not because he is my doctor, but he has renowned name 10 patients, 30,000 rupees in 1 hour. And whole day he has a practice. And that entire thing is in Kacha receipt. So when I compare such intellectual person and a real estate fellow, both are doing cash transactions. And these are the unaccounted monies which we see. And therefore, what we call, there was a surgical strike on black money. So builder is also taking, and the person, intellectual person like a medical practitioner is also taking cash. And it needed. These are the good examples, and we know the bad examples. There are money laundering cases. There are drug trafficking. There are terrorist activities, funding for terrorist activities through Hawala market. You are aware of Hawala market. So these are all anti-nationalist activities which are being funded only because of high value of cash transactions in India. And that was the need, you know. And therefore, as the party people rightly said, described that it was a surgical strike on those black marketeers, on the black money, on the counterfeit currency. There was a counterfeit currency, 500 and 1000 rupee notes, rightly coming from Pakistan and Dubai. And therefore, to arrest those counterfeit currencies and to arrest that black money, it was really needed. And I told you that the currency GDP ratio was high, the disproportionate listing of the store value of high denominations, and therefore there was a need. And then on 8th of November 2016, he declared with full of secrecy. Even Reserve Bank people were not aware. I am a banker, and prior to 8th of November, I had received, as Dr. Zulekha Madam described me as a director of National Federation of State Cooperative Banks, and I received from Delhi one image on my email 10 days before the declaration of 2000 rupee note. It was a bundle, and there was a question that whether this is true or a fake. I just saw the image of 2000 rupees and I inquired in Reserve Bank whether this is correct. They said no, there is no such thing. I inquired with the senior level managers of RBI. Apart from the currency management department, many other departments of RBI were also not aware. And top government bureaucrats were also not aware. So that was the thing, you know, and therefore what I need to say is there was a full secrecy as regards to demonetization. And I also told you what was the need of demonetization. Demonetization is not the first instance of this year. Prior to this, are you aware that there was a currency note of 10,000 rupees? Anybody is aware?
Yes.
You are aware?
Yes.
Way back in 1938, 10,000 note was circulated or monetized. And then it was again demonetized in 1938, 48. And then subsequently again that 10,000 note was again reintroduced, monetized in 1954. Till 1978, that 10,000 note, currency note was in circulation. This is RBI data. 1978, this 10,000, such a big note, we used to call chaddar. Literally, we used to call chaddar. In 1978, that 10,000 chaddar was withdrawn. What is demonetization? It is withdrawal of a currency. And it has no legal tender value once it is withdrawn. So that 10,000 note in 1978 was withdrawn, demonetized. But there was no impact on the economy. Why? Why there was no impact on economy even after demonetization of 10,000 notes? Can you guess? Can you guess? What could be the reason? Today we see that there is a great impact. There is a great impact on the economy. Shivaji sir told us what are the instances post demonetization. My dear friends, no guesswork, I will disclose. This 10,000 note was being held by only 5% of total population. That's all, only 5% of population, not more. Even many banks had no 10,000 notes in their treasury. It was scarce, the number was less, and therefore, when it was demonetized, there was no effect, no impact. But today it is not the case. Today, as we all are aware, that 15.44 lakh crores, which constituted 86% of the total currency, was withdrawn by one announcement. It was a bold announcement, bold drive, adventurous. What was the reasons given? I told you, to curb the black money, to arrest the counterfeit notes, currency notes which were in circulation, right? And when it was demonetized of this much of currency, we all expected that this 86% will be remonetized by new currency, but that didn't happen. And that's the gap, that didn't happen. Reserve Bank also did not envisage that this would be the position, because the notes are printed in government security press and there are security features, as all are aware. When you take out the currency note, it has got distinct basic features, and to have that type of features and printing, it has got limitation of time. Though the demonetization was made in phases, like 30th December, till 30th December it was allowed, but during the period of 30th December, Honorable Governor Urjit Patel, just day before yesterday, before the Parliamentary Committee, admitted that we could replace or remonetize only to the extent of 9 lakh crores, that is hardly 60%. In fact, it was expected that entire 100% would be remonetized, replaced. And that's the gap. And again, what happened as a banker, I used to receive only rupees 2,000 new notes from Reserve Bank, from the State Bank, my bankers. And there was a great demand for 50 rupees, 100 rupees. As you all are aware, if you go with 2,000 rupees in the market, nobody will accept, because we have many tiny things to do. And if you produce 2,000 rupees, they will say, you go away. And that's what happened. And that's what still happening, because there was no supply of 100 rupee note. The new 500 rupee note I saw only after 1 month. Public sector banks were receiving and we were not receiving, we were not given the quota, and I was not able to give it to my customers. So that's how the gap, there is a still gap of 40% for remonetization, and therefore it is impacting on the economy. There is definitely, when 86% of the currency is demonetized, or when it is sucked from the currency, definitely there is going to be impact on the economy. As Shivaji sir already told you, that our growth rate of 7.6% has been rated as 6.6% by International Monetary Fund and World Bank. So rating has come down, growth rate has come down. There is impact on small and marginal trades, micro level trades. Laborers are going, and particularly where the transactions are held in cash. I finance agriculture. Agriculture at the rural level, everything is in cash, APMCs. And now to switch over from cash to digital economy, there is taking time. Well, banks are promoting their digital products, mobile banking, internet banking, valet payments. Paytems are doing excellent business. Excellent business. During these 50 days, they had lot many customers, new customers. Everybody was downloading that app. State Bank started Buddy. Every bank started their own valet apps. But to convert from the cash economy to the cashless economy, it will take time. And therefore, what result we are right now facing, there were queues before the ATMs. Even till today, because there is no adequate money supply, even if there is 1 lakh of rupees or 5 lakh rupees of your balance, Reserve Bank has given you permission of only 24,000 rupees. We expected that by 30th December this will be over, and from 31st December or from 1st January it will be lifted and you can avail your balance. But no, because there is no in supply, still that 24,000 limit is still there, and that is causing inconvenience. As a banker, I faced many requests. There was a marriage, and then I represented. I wrote a letter to the Prime Minister. After that, they ratified. For a person who has a ceremony at his place, his daughter is getting married, and he has been allowed only 24,000 rupees. He has to pay the hall charges in cash. He has to pay the cook in cash. He has to pay the laborers in cash. He has to pay cash to the cabs fellow. Everything, the tiny payments have to be made in cash, and he can withdraw only 24,000 per week. So those were the constraints we wrote, we represented through our federation also. And therefore, whenever the such type of request came, there was a revision, and they were allowed to withdraw more to the extent of 2.50 lakhs. Agriculturists were allowed to withdraw up to 50,000 rupees, but still there is a constraint. Even we have not come out of it. But I am very glad that all Indians face this situation very nicely, coolly. Remember, even till today, we have been very patient, and we have been doing it nicely because we are doing this for our country. This is for the country. And the objective of this is very noble. And I believe this is a small time effect. In the years to come, in the long term, definitely this demonetization will help what the objectives those frame makers had in mind. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are honored to have with us Mr. Gaurav Kapoor.